welcome to It's Always Sunny in Sawleywood. Yeah, let's go with that. Always Sunny in Sawleywood. My name is Patty, and my two victims, co-hosts, excuse me, are...
My name is Lugia, and I don't want to play these games anymore.
And I'm Red.
Yeah, we're playing another game today. No, it's not Jumanji or Zathura. We already did that. We're playing Saw. Yay.
Love Saw the board game. If it existed.
How would you even make that into a board game?
I guess something
Operation.
like Trivia Murder Party.
Fair enough.
One person plays Operation, the other person, I don't know, does an escape room.
So, Saw was directed by James Wan, and this is the love child of both him and Leigh Whannell. And the story of its creation goes all the way back to the early 2000s.
And we've actually talked about Leigh Whannell on the show before. In fact, it was you who recommended him too, that time also.
I did. It was very early on. The Invisible Man. I quite liked that movie. Anyway, the story of Saw's creation begins in the early 2000s when Wan and Whannell had just gotten out of film school. And, they had dreams of making their own movies, but of course, being two guys fresh out of film school, they faced the issue of having big ideas but little money to actually bring them to life. So they decided brainstorming what they could make with the money that they had. And eventually they came up with an idea of a movie about two guys in a room with a dead body in the middle and only a gun and tape recorder in their possession. And from there they started filling in the gaps of the who, what, and why of this was happening. And originally they wanted to make this film themselves with their own money, but when they told their agent about it, she convinced them to get proper funding. But the thing is, they couldn't really pitch the film proper in Australia, so they were convinced to go to America to try to see if they could get the film off the ground. And, being two young filmmakers, they didn't know if they could really face the big producers in Hollywood with very little on their resume, so they decided, let's make a little short film to show, our directing and acting capabilities, and pitch that when we want to pitch the movie. And this idea did kind of work. It did catch the attention of studios like DreamWorks and Gold Circle Films. But Wan and Whannell turned down their offers since the studios were willing to make the movie, but they weren't willing to let them direct or star in it. Eventually, they did land a deal with producer Greg Hoffman and his production company that allowed them creative control over the film, but at the cost of only having a $1 million budget. They accepted that offer, and the entire film was shot in just 18 days. And the film was originally slated to be released straight to video, but after a strong reaction from showing at Sundance, it was decided it would get a theatrical release instead. And theatrically release it did in October 2004, where reviews, while mixed, the film was a huge success, grossing $104 million against a $1 million budget, becoming the most profitable horror film since Scream 8 years prior. And from there, it developed a huge cult following, and I believe there's 10 of these things in total?
Full disclosure, we're only talking about the first film.
Actually, before we actually get into that, I just want to ask. So, Red, you said you've seen a few of the Saw movies before. Lugia, I know this
I
is
saw the
your...
first one, and I saw the short film. That's it.
Anyway, I wanted to ask, Lugia, I know that you've never seen a Saw film before. Do you have any exposure to this franchise otherwise, like a parody or something?
Yes, actually. I remember when I was very young, like single digits very young. I'm sure you're familiar with The Annoying Orange. There was a Saw parody episode of that where, Annoying Orange just pisses off Jigsaw. I couldn't tell you much of what happens. I think Apple dies again, but, yeah. That was probably my first exposure to anything Saw-related.
Yeah, funny thing,
I was going to mention the
that was
Mad
my
Magazine
first
cartoon.
experience, too. I wasn't sure if I was in the minority, but yeah, I'm not.
My first exposure was the Mad Magazine cartoon, because they had a parody one
The
episode.
TV show?
Yeah. Not Mad TV, but the cartoon on Cartoon Network.
Yeah, I watched that. I don't remember a Saw parody. Granted, it's been years.
Couldn't tell you.
But yeah, no, my experience is pretty much the same as Luke. Yeah, I saw the Annoying Orange parody, but other than a jab in one of the scary movies, I don't really have any exposure to this franchise. Which is why I wanted to see this first movie, just to be why not? I want to say I've seen it at least.
And this is way out of your comfort zone.
I don't like torture or gore, so yeah. But we're getting ahead of ourselves. What is Saw about? So, Saw is about two guys named Lawrence and Adam who wake up chained on opposite ends of this dirty room, and all they have is a dead body in the middle of it and a few objects. and they're like, what the fuck is going on? How do we get here? We don't have any enemies. But they soon learn that they were put there by this mastermind psychopath named Jigsaw, who is never seen directly, at least from their point of view, but he is portrayed as this puppet. And Jigsaw's whole deal is that he takes people who are either just downright terrible or not going down a very good path in life, and he puts them in these basically either torture contraptions or incredibly uncomfortable scenarios that they need to get out of or die. And with Adam and Lawrence, what's going on here is that Lawrence has a choice. He can either kill Adam and save his family, or save Adam and rot away for the rest of his life, never seeing his family again. So it's his choice. And thus, we have Saw. So, what do we think?
It's decent.
It could have been a lot worse. For what it is, I think it's okay. I wasn't really like too impressed by it outside of maybe a couple instances. I hear the sequels are worse by comparison, and I don't really have an interest in watching those, but for this first outing, I think it was fine.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think it was like a decent, like sort of I guess bottle drama, like
Yeah, I'm in a similar boat. It was fine. Like, I don't love it. I didn't hate it. It
Have you guys
wasn't.
ever seen the movie Cube?
No.
No.
It reminded me of Cube, except I think Cube kind of does it better.
I did find this film like easier to sit through than I was expecting, because from what I did know of Saw anyway, aside from the few parodies I'd seen, like I knew it was like a bloodbath. Like it was basically nothing but torture. This film, I was surprised to find it was actually pretty tame. Like you get a few glimpses of some of the torture in the beginning, and there's one moment at the end I looked away from. Otherwise, it's pretty gore-free, and I was surprised by that. Like
It
on
Yeah,
still
one
the
wants
hand,
to
this
shove
kinda
gross
reminds
things
me-
in your face. Like it has like camera angles and editing dedicated to showing you those disturbing things, like the guy in the barbed wire cage or whatever, stuff like that. I'm pretty sure the sequels also do that too, where they just want to like emphasize like the grotesque nature of the gore. But those moments in this movie were very few and far between.
Yeah, this movie kind of reminded me of like Texas Chainsaw Massacre, where it's not really gory, it just has like a really, really grimy atmosphere. Like the movie looks gross, but you don't actually like see too much gross stuff.
so the lack of gore for me, it's weird because on one hand it was easier to sit through, but on the other hand, given its premise and like so I think the premise of Saw is like perfect for a horror. You have this psychopath who basically he doesn't kill anyone, he basically has them slowly kill themselves. Like I think that's perfect and you could do like a million things with it. And here it kind of feels like they just kind of dangle the idea in your face and never fully commit to it.
Uh,
I think Jigsaw's full of shit, by the way. He's definitely killing those people, but
All right, well, first off, Patty, I thought you were going to say, like, since there's, like, barely any gore, you're extremely disappointed because that's exactly what you signed up for when it came to this movie.
Well, I had a certain expectation given what I knew from Saw from like, cultural osmosis. So to have a movie with very little gore, I'm like, on one hand, great. On the other hand, it kind of feels like a missed opportunity. It's weird. It's very weird.
There's something about, like, the whole fact that they don't really like play around with the idea of them killing each other for too long. I found that very interesting for the characters, especially Lawrence, because he has been given like several instances where like he should have been goaded into killing Adam, but like every time he resists that temptation. Like it's barely even a thought in his mind, and when you think it is, they actually try to just trick Jigsaw so they can both escape.
I did think that was interesting, where they try to see if they could outsmart the game.
you know what this movie reminded me of? A point-and-click adventure game.
Yeah,
Kind of felt like they're stuck in a room and they're doing.
or like an escape room if you've ever done one of those.
I've done an
Yeah.
escape room, yeah.
I think this might have inspired like kind of the escape room premise, honestly. But
I don't know,
aesthetic wise,
I don't really have a memory of, the world pre-Saw, so.
yeah, yeah, I don't know, kind of reminded me of like Zero Escape games or something. But aesthetic wise, I feel this is very like clearly lifting a lot from what's it called, that David Fincher movie Seven. Like I feel like if I was to like pitch this movie to someone, I'd say it's Cube. It's the movie Cube, except instead of being really sterile, it has like the Seven kind of aesthetic to it. It's basically like an MTV Panic escape room.
I have a question for Red. You brought up that you saw the short film, and I said I wanted to see it. How does that compare to the movie? Because my thought when the film was done was that it was fine, but I feel like I probably would have liked it more if it was a short.
Yeah, so the short film is not really it's not like a shorter version of the movie. It's mostly just like it's basically like the flashback sequence with the bear trap. It's a decent pitch for the movie, but like when you watch a short film, you're like, this needs to be a full movie, and then when you watch a whole movie, you're like, this needs to be a short film. And it's like, I don't know, because the
Really?
short film's like, yeah, the short film's only 10 minutes long. It's not like a 30, 40 minute short film, you know? Maybe the perfect length for this type of thing is like an hour instead of like an hour and a half, but yeah.
This is a 100-minute film, and I did feel like it was padded out at a certain point.
Yeah.
Who knows? Maybe Saw would have probably been most at home as like an anthology or something.
They do at least try to break up the monotony with the flashbacks of like how they got there in the first place and how they like have to put the pieces together as to who Jigsaw is and like any other key players who are also a part of the story, like the cop Rudd, what was his name? Tap, that's what it was. But honestly, I didn't really care for those moments. I was actually more invested in them trying to escape the room and not so much just how they got there. The twist at the end did kind of surprise me.
I feel like this movie was better when it was trying to be like slow and tense like Hitchcock. I really didn't like anytime I was doing like the weird like MTV like big camera spinning editing shit because it was like
Yeah, I wasn't a fan of
very
like
in your
okay,
face.
during
It
the
was like,
during
who
the
cares?
torture scenes, it was fine, but they also incorporate it in some of the non-torture scenes, and it just looked tacky.
It reminds me of just like some shitty like corn music videos or something. Linkin Park. Yeah, like again, it's an okay movie. It's like fine for to watch one time. Surprise! I guess I'm not surprised. Like it took off as a franchise because it's a good like sort of bottle concept, but like it's nothing deep and it's nothing like amazing. So it's not like
Again, I think conceptually it's you could do like a million things with it.
Maybe they do, and we're just being harsh.
Maybe, I don't know, but again, we're
I don't know.
not.
Like it's just like I don't know. This to me is like I'm lumping it more in my head with like Friday the 13th in terms of franchises where like it's kind of schlock and you just kind of like go there to get like the kind of violence that you want to see instead of something like Halloween or like the first movie is like actually an excellent movie and they just make sequels off the goodwill of that. So it's and this one I think like this I definitely say this movie is better than like all the Friday the 13th movies or at least most of them, but I don't know, it's just like it's just okay. James Wan and Lee Winnell did much better stuff later down the road, so like I'm not too upset, but it's good start to the career, but like I give it a thumbs up, but it's just like a very like light thumbs up. It's not like not something I'm really enamored by. I wonder if it's better than The Conjuring because I've never seen those movies. I know that's like his other big franchise.
I've never seen The Conjuring. I've never had an interest.
Conjuring, there's Insidious. Those are like the two movies he's made.
Yeah, neither.
Yeah, I haven't seen them either. Yeah. All I know is Patrick
Nope.
Wilson's in a bunch of them. Patrick Wilson's in like all of his movies. It's kind of weird, except Saw. This movie basically like started the James Wan Reich. James Wan is like God. He is so influential over horror. He's produced so many horror movies, and I don't really like most of them, so I'm not really sure like how I feel about that because like I don't think he's a bad director, but like I don't know. I feel like the state of horror is almost entirely on his shoulders.
From what I can understand from all of our opinions, the best way to watch this movie is to, I don't know, edit a cut where it's just all the scenes of the two guys in the room.
Yeah, basically. I feel this movie is probably fun to watch with friends too, so maybe do that.
Maybe.
You know what? I just realized. Don't know how I feel about this movie. My feelings for this movie is pretty much the exact same as like the Resident Evil, the first one, where I'm like, it's all right, you know. And that one, I think it reminded me of like James Cameron and like John Carpenter a lot, and this one it kind of reminds me of like David Fincher and MTV a lot. So yeah, I don't know. They're like okay movies that spawn terrible franchises. I feel like I'm being meaner to this than I really intended to be, honestly, when I came in, because I don't think it's a bad movie or anything. It's just like
There's nothing exceptional.
Again, it's weird because the movie I got was easier to stomach than I expected, but I'm also kind of disappointed by how safe it was. I don't know, man.
You wanted to
Saw
walk
something
out
else.
with your "I survived the first Saw movie" T-shirt, and you wanted to be damn proud of it.
yeah,
It's
I
like-
think you were expecting the Human Centipede, which is we're not going to talk about
It's,
that. Franchise.
no. I don't know if I should
Yeah.
be thankful or I don't know.
Maybe
Yeah,
we
but I do wanna
have
make
to
clear-
watch the sequels now just to get a better reaction.
A part of me is kind of curious just to
Is
see
this
if,
how
like,
they hook you?
embrace-
Is that why they did it this way?
Maybe it was
No.
intentional so they could make 9 sequels to it. I don't know.
Hold on, here's the thing. I want to see this. I think this movie, like to give this movie credit, I think this movie has a lot of charm to it. Like this is like I don't have negative feelings towards this movie. It's just like It's just like lukewarm. Like it's a weird thing for a movie that's like it has a kind of hokey premise. It kind of has like bad acting. It has kind of like cheap, like kind of goofy aesthetics. It's still incredibly charming. Like it's still like I enjoyed it. I thought, I liked the two main characters and Jigsaw. I can definitely see why Jigsaw became this big like sort of franchise character because he does have like sort of a presence to him. He reminds me of like
Ghostface.
yeah, but he's like better than Ghostface, honestly, because like Ghostface is kind of stupid. He's like I don't know, he's Ghostface, but he's got sort of like a Freddy Krueger kind of like where I can actually like buy him being like you wanting to come back to see him. And like the Jigsaw puppet is a great design.
On the subject of Jigsaw, I just remembered. I told you guys, like, I saw one of the Scary movies, and obviously they parodied Saw in it. I don't remember which Scary movie it was, but I remember in that film, at the end of the scene, he just comes out on a tricycle. When he came out on a tricycle in this film, I actually laughed out loud because I thought that was just a bit that Scary Movie put in. Like, you have this killer puppet who just comes out on a bicycle, and that's the joke. But
It's
no,
still kind of funny.
it's canon. It's canon to Saw. I'm like, oh, that wasn't just a bit. It's the real thing.
Next time, have him come in a pogo stick.
Each movie, it's a different contraption.
I'm kind of thrown off by the performances in this one because like Danny Glover and Cary Elwes are in this, and I see them in better movies, and it's kind of weird that their acting was kind of mediocre here. But
Part of me thinks that's supposed to be intentional, considering in horror movies, like bad acting is supposed to be that way to let you know that like there's something wrong with the scene, and it's supposed to make you like tense.
okay, that's not true. The reason most horror movies have bad acting is because it's usually newbie directors, and this is their first time ever
Well, that
Well,
too.
filming.
that is kind of the case here.
Like Evil Dead has like bad acting because Sam Raimi just grabbed a bunch of his high schoolers and took them to the woods and started torturing them. Like I would say like Hitchcock, like I'd say some of the hokey acting there is like probably a bit intentional, although I don't even think that performances in Hitchcock movies are bad. I actually think those are good. But they've got a sort of surreal quality to them. Same with David Lynch. David Lynch has like a surreal quality to his acting, but I don't think that applies here. I think like he's doing David Lynch does that, but here I just think it's James Wan did not get the hang of directing actors yet. He gets better though, so
Okay, is that everything?
I want to like just talk about the plot twist real quick. It kind of reminded
Okay.
me of Black Christmas, if you remember. You think you find the killer, and he's like this nurse turned psychomaniac, and they kill him, but it turns out that Jigsaw was actually the dead old man on the floor the whole time, and he was just acting. I mean, I guess it's a cliffhanger, a sequel bait, but it was still kind of cool how like the real killer was like right in front of you the whole time and you just didn't know.
At first, I thought the dead body in the middle was the cop that was killed earlier in the film, but I noticed the gun was different, so I'm like, oh no, it's not him.
What's funny is it being a cheap movie, like when the gun's like different, that could just be me. It's like, oh, they just made a mistake, so I didn't even like think about it. And then you're like, oh wait, no, that was intentional. Wait,
I mean, the cop was shot in the head, and the dead body here is like bleeding from the head, and like I thought there was a connection between the two, but it got my brain working though. So
very influential movie. I mean, its aesthetic is definitely influenced other stuff. When you watch the Silent Hill movies now, you're like, oh, okay, it's trying to be like Saw. I mean, this movie was probably drawing from Silent Hill aesthetically, but like the movie was definitely like I feel like it took some cues from Saw. But yeah, so I guess we all recommend it, but it's like hesitantly.
if you're curious, like I was, like you could do far worse.
It's a
Definitely
thumbs up.
watch it
It's
with
not two
friends.
thumbs up.
I don't think you'd
Yeah.
get much watching it by yourself.
Thumbs up, not two thumbs up, but a thumbs up. Word.
It is fine.
All right, word. Guess it's my turn now, right?
Yep.
Okay, so I'm gonna recommend a single movie, but it's part of a series. And like normally I know when we do like a movie trilogy together, that tells like an ongoing story is made by the same guy, we should talk about them all together. I don't want to do that here. I think we have more than enough to talk about these movies individually. I think these movies kind of stand on their own stylistically. Even if like there's a shared vision, so like it won't be redundant. It's not like when we talk about Spider-Man and The Godfather, where they're all pretty much the same technically, so there's not like we can kind of just lump half the talk together. But yeah, the other movies are definitely going to be mentioned, but I'm confident we've already seen the important ones as most of the people have at home, so I'm not too worried. And if you guys want to guess what movie I'm going to recommend,
Is it Lord of the Rings?
no,
Star Wars?
yeah, I'm going to recommend Star Wars Episode 1: The Phantom Menace.
Oh, okay. Hey,
Huh.
just vanilla Phantom Menace, right? No fan edits.
Yeah,
Okay.
original Phantom Menace. This is our first Star Wars movie, I believe, right?
Yeah, we haven't dedicated an episode to anything Star Wars.
This is gonna be the first Star Wars movie we talk about, and I'm hoping that like the Channel Awesome movies, I'll recommend like the others at some other time. Have you guys ever seen Phantom Menace before?
Yeah.
Seen bits of it. I don't think I've seen it all the way through though.
Which Star Wars movies have you guys seen actually? Just
I've
out of
seen
curiosity?
all the
I've
main ones and Rogue
Same.
One.
I've seen the original trilogy, the sequel trilogy, and the third one.
I also saw
Alright,
Solo,
perfect.
but I don't give a shit about that one.
You're like, I've seen all the mainline movies. It's like, no, you've seen
Wait,
all the
no.
movies.
Did you see Clone Wars the movie?
Baby.
Yeah, it's like on TV. They aired it on TV a few times.
I saw Clone Wars the movie once. I remember jack shit about it.
Okay, so you've seen every movie except Episode 1 and 2. We don't need to worry about.
But I played through Lego Star Wars, so that's got to count for something.
All right, so if we ever reference something in the other movies, no one's gonna be lost. All right, we got a ending for the episode.
Time's up.